This is a very quick analysis of the final moments of the 1995 movie Braveheart, starring Mel Gibson. Right at the very end of the movie, Scottish soldiers gleefully run into battle, and as the movie comes to a close, we get a final narration. Listen to this carefully.
In the year of our Lord, 1314, Patriots of Scotland, starving and outnumbered, charged the fields of Bannockburn. They fought like warrior poets. They fought like Scotsmen, and won their freedom.
We are told that the Scottish troops were starving. It is a claim repeated endlessly around the internet. Yet what history tells us is that Scottish soldiers were not above pillaging from the locals for food. When Robert the Bruce invaded Ireland, the Scots did exactly this. In fact, it was the Scottish habit of pillaging that did so much to sour their relations with the Irish. Feeding armies was a social effort in the medieval period. Food for armies was supplied by nobles, and critically by local religious houses, who by law were expected to provide for the war effort. Tenants of abbeys, convents, and monasteries were even expected to provide horses. Historians also record that before the second day of the battle got started, Scottish soldiers ate breakfast. The claim, therefore, that they were starving seems highly implausible. To give a sense of the scale of provisioning, Paisley Abbey in Scotland was expected to provide 5 chalders of oats to a Scottish garrison. This amounts to more than 16 kilolitres, or over half of the volume of this stack of crates. Gibson's narration also tells us that the Scottish who fought at Bannockburn were Patriots of Scotland. Patriotism is the recurrent theme in the movie, which, after all, is a kind of morality fable. Indeed, earlier in the movie we see Braveheart rallying the Scots with a pre-battle pep talk. This is perhaps one of the best-known scenes of the movie, in which Braveheart calls upon them to fight for freedom.
And tell our enemies that they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom!
It's all very inspiring. William Wallace is even smeared in blue face paint and everything. The only problem is that the Scottish army were not patriots in the modern sense. They were recruited on the basis of customary, obligatory military duty to their noble liege. Historians do accept that there were some volunteers, but these were the sort of men who tended toward banditry. We'd call them thugs, who were quite keen to have a crack at the English if it meant they could pillage and loot afterwards. Virtually the one defining feature of this army is that they fought out of obligation to their feudal superior, not to some exalted concept of a sovereign Scotland or something called freedom. The impression Gibson gives is that these hungry and outnumbered Scots made a glorious final charge that gave them freedom, just like on the beaches of Normandy. But while the Battle of Bannockburn did finish with the English fleeing in panic, this came after 2 long days of being ground down by Scottish schiltroms. The Scots won from a combination of discipline, good battlefield placement, and luck. Some of the English defected and gave the Scottish vital information. That was very lucky. The footage from this documentary gives a much more accurate impression of the Scottish army at Bannockburn than that shown in the movie, which seems to delight in portraying the Scots as hillbilly rustics, in some instances waving what looks like farming implements. If they were so badly equipped, then of course they could only possibly be victorious by the sheer force of their thirst for
freedom!
Nitpicking is the common complaint about historical critiques of movies. Why does it matter? Just enjoy the movie seems to be the vibe. But if I could pick one example of how historical movies can greatly influence a culture, I would choose Braveheart. Not only has it inspired new William Wallace shrines, influenced the tourism industry, but it has also been an important component feeding into the independence debate in Scotland. I am not attempting here to malign the achievement of the Scots at the Battle of Bannockburn. My own ancestors, the MacGregors, fought there. I love Scotland and have often thought of moving to live there. But the very fact I need to add this disclaimer shows how history and emotion and mythology can all tie together in a very powerful brew, and that can have real political and social results. At Bannockburn, the Scots were not starving. They were fed. They were outnumbered, but they faced a genuinely hungry English army whose soldiers were very far from home. They did not charge the fields and win their freedom. Rather, they fought a disciplined and protracted battle in cleverly chosen terrain until the English broke. Then they systematically hunted them down and slaughtered practically the entire army as they were running away. Was it a significant battle? Yes. Did it lay the foundation for Scottish independence? Absolutely. Was it anything like the morality fable shown in the movie? Most assuredly not.